What's happening right now at the Liberia and Guinea border didn't just start today. This is the problem that started way back over 100 years ago, where it all started in the 1800s. Now let's go back to 1822. Liberia was founded by the American Colonization Society. 1847, Liberia gained its independence and became a first African republic. At that time, Liberia had much larger territory than what we see today. Much of Ivory Coast towards the Maryland side, go all the way east side towards Saïd, Danane, all of that was owned by Liberia. Guinea, much of Guinea was owned by Liberia, go all the way towards what you call it Solomba and Gigidoo and all of that was owned by Liberia. Even much of Sierra Leone was owned by Liberia as well. But then came the struggle for Africa when the European powers started dividing Africa among themselves. 1880s to the 1890s, France expanded what is now Guinea. December 8, 1892, Liberia signed a treaty with France that forced it to give up its land, and Liberia only had two choices at that time: either stay independent or give up much of the land, because Liberia didn't have the military power, Liberia didn't have the force, it was the only independent African republic at that time. So Liberia was forced to negotiate through diplomatic talks. That treaty pushed Liberia in war, losing much of Liberia land. That's why if you see Liberia map today, it's like you take a bite out of an apple. Now September 18, 1907, another agreement adjusted the boundary again, moving inward where it all is today, creating that Makona River, that Skolomba River, where the tension is today. That's where the agreement, everything started from. Now in 1926 to 1929, the boundary was physically mapped on the ground and on papers as well. So the border we see today is not random. It was negotiated under pressure after independence, modern organization. Now, 1958, Guinea gained its independence from France. 1960, Liberia and Guinea both agreed to respect the existing boundaries that we are seeing today. Meaning both countries officially recognize the same boundary. That boundary follows natural features like the Makona River. Why this border always has been a sensitive issue, let's talk about it. Because this is not the first time issue come about this border. It actually happened before in the past. Even though the border was agreed upon, the Makona River shift over time. You know, rivers is not something that is stationary. Or river shift sometimes, so now it go inward, sometimes it turns small, sometimes it turns large. So the entire boundary is not perfectly clear on who owns it, which part of the land. People on both sides lived and worked together perfectly in history before, even though there has been disagreement on who owns it, on what it is. But people on both sides always find a diplomatic solution until fast forward to 2026, March 2nd, 2026 to be specific. Workers from the Liberia-linked company BK Enterprise were operating near the Makona River. Guinea soldiers show up and challenge the activities of the miners. Now, to be fair, if both Liberia and Guinea share the border, I feel like any activity that's going on that river should have the permission and acknowledgement from both Liberia and Guinea. It shouldn't just be Liberia. Now fast forward to March 8, 2026. Liberian officials traveled to Guinea, Gigidoo, to calm the tension down. They had a peaceful talk under the Palava Hall, shake hands, laughed about it. Some local Guineans crossed over to Liberia as well. So it was like the way it been before in history. Nothing strange about it. Now fast forward to March 10, 2026. The situation escalated. Guinea soldiers crossed into Liberia, the Solomba area. And what they claim is that there was still mining going on the Makona River, and local Liberians actually crossed towards the Guinea side with cutlasses, rags, hooks, and started throwing stones like Guinea soldiers. So the Guinea soldiers crossed towards the Liberia side as well, raised their flag on Liberia soil. They stopped road construction that was actually going on in the area, seized mining equipment from the BK Enterprise that was mining on the Makona River, creating tension within the entire region. Thousands of civilians begin fleeing their homes. Now, March 11 to March 12, 2026, report of gunfire from the Guinean soldiers. The local Liberian was injured, which make tension to be even worse as well. So, mid-March 2026, Joseph Boakai, the president of the Republic of Liberia, called an emergency meeting between the president of Sierra Leone, Guinea, and traveled to Conakry, Guinea for a diplomatic talk. And regional bodies like ECOWAS urged and called for restraint within the region as well. Now, after the talks, they came outside holding hands and everything sounds fine. They had an agreement and gave us hope that Nothing is going to escalate this well. Mining activities on the Makuna River stopped temporarily. Equipment and everything was returned to Liberia. Tensions started to cool down within the region. Not until Guinea soldiers choose to cross into Liberia again and seize the entire border area. Now Liberia had two choices, either to engage with them and go into a fight or find another solution. Surprisingly, and this is where I commend the President of the Republic of Liberia and the Liberian people on how they reacted to this situation. Because instead of engaging with foes, the Liberian people choose to go through it with peace. The President of the Republic of Liberia issued a statement, and I quote from him: "We choosing peace and diplomatic solution is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength, growth, and maturity. Based off of our history, it's easy to engage in conflict, but it's harder to rebuild. And at the moment, we are in a period of rebuilding." As I'm talking to you today, there have been joint security forces like the Armed Forces of Liberia, the EPS, and the other security forces. But I have never seen AFL soldier to date to show up to that border. Why Guineans show up with their foes like they was going to World War II or World War III? They have helicopters, they have tanks, convoy after convoy was heading to that border like they was going to World War III or something like that. Every single one of that military concentrated was a national news. People coming outside cheering for them. Their president giving their chief advice, creating tension. But I love how the Liberian people handled the entire situation professionally. I actually saw a couple of soldiers walk to the villages, talk to some of these people. The Liberian National Police Chief called a town hall meeting and talked to some villagers on why they should restrain, on why they should relocate, especially the farmers. Even though some of those farmers were losing their crops, they were losing our planes and our farms and everything like that. And they cooperated with the Liberia National Police, with the joint security forces, and leave everything up to the Guinea. Even there was a point where the Guinea was actually leaving the border area and was approaching inwards in Liberia as well. We was also told that the Liberian authority was telling the villagers to also push back. So I actually applaud the President of the Republic of Liberia, the people within our entire region, how they handled the situation and how they went about it as well. So now let's actually recap everything and talk about what actually caused this whole border tension and the situation at the core. Number one is the border confusion. Even though the Makuna River is the boundary, both sides disagree on who controls the exact area that is being used. And number two is the resource activity, the sand mining that started near the river that triggered the entire territorial concerns as well. The BK Enterprise should have had a permission or at least acknowledgement from the Guinean government and authorities because it's a shared boundary, but they didn't do that. And I feel like they also didn't obey the commands of either the Guinean authorities or the Guinean militaries as well. And the third one, I feel like actually escalated this and made it worse, is the Guinean military response. Now mind you, the current president of Guinea, Mamadou Doumbouya, goes through power through coup. He's a military leader, so his natural instinct is fight first, diplomatic talk second. So when he heard what was going on, he mobilized his entire military, his security forces, and sent his entire military arsenal to that border and said, okay, war is war, and war they want, which is not the right way to do it. Actually escalated things and made it worse. If Liberia was going to respond the same way about this time we're having a whole different discussion. Civilian got involved, civilian got injured, while fleeing the tension as well. A little girl was hit by a car, lost her entire leg because she was running away from the tension. So Liberia and Guinea, these are two different countries that have two different systems. One is French, one is English, one is majority Christian, one is majority Muslims, with two different leaders with two different approaches as well. For example, Guinea acted quickly, used military presence, asserted a territorial claim like Liberia is about to take over the whole Guinea. And Liberia, on the other hand, avoided escalation, stayed within its boundary and actually pushed its citizens back away from the border and focus on diplomatic and regional talk. The bigger picture, the situation is really about old colonial borders affecting today. Natural boundaries like rivers, it's not always clear who owns what and where to stop, especially if there's not an agreement on people on who owns the resources within that border. This boundary was set by the white man, the colonial power, who didn't really understand the African culture and the African people. Solomba area and the Akigedu in Guinea. These are the same people, they speak the same language. Literally the same people. The only thing is the banner that share them say you belong to this one, you belong to this one. So I feel like we are being affected still as in 2026 by the colonial power, which is not supposed to be the same. As we talk, we got Pele, as you all heard before, the Guinea Pele. That are Guineans, but also Liberian who live in Liberia. We also have the Pele people in Guinea over there. People within our whole banner area, they speak the same language. So I feel like having a diplomatic talk is always the solution. I feel like that's why it should always be, and that's how it's been in the past. So my final thought, this whole border issue didn't start in 2026. It started in 1892 when Liberia was forced to give up its land as we see it today. And to be honest, as we see on Guinness television, we claim our ancestral land. I feel like Liberia should be the one to say that. So seeing border that was created over 100 years ago is creating tension today. So now the real question is, will both countries respect and resolve the issue peacefully? I'm not saying the tension is not going to happen. It's definitely going to happen in the future, as it's always been in the past. But will both countries resolve the issue diplomatically through peaceful talks, diplomatic talks, like the same way it was handled first when the local Liberian authorities went into Guinea? They have their Palava Hall talk and everything was resolved. That's how it's supposed to be. Rather than the military power by the Guinean president, it's definitely not the way to do. They actually make it worse and they risk conflict within the region. So hopefully that is not the case. As we talk now, the border is open. The Guineans are allowing Liberians to go on the other side to do their shopping, to get their goods. As they put on a Guinean television, everything is okay. Hopefully it stays like that. Hopefully it doesn't get worse. But as of March 27, 2026, everything is peaceful so far. Hopefully it stays like that. Thank you for watching. Make sure you check out my channel. Watch my other videos. Liberia versus Sierra Leone, Liberia versus Nigeria, and all these other countries as well. Very, very entertaining. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.
We have agreed to make peace and remain the way we were before.
Mo we di nyama for me Benada, mo te buy that him na so mo find buy te me do kin me working.
To let the world know that our cornerstone has not been touched.
Ma fe dunya be aro ka for I na fa ko no sun bonje wi alo anoro mo lo na le mani.
It is still in the same position.
Afa na anoko ro amajajala.
So we are grateful that our brothers have come today.
Mo sa wa ni mo ba de we na bi mo be keke ni no one is cornerstone money.
So we make peace.
Amon ba what if me ko nya we be ngo.
Thank you.
Give this to Sierra Leone because Sierra Leone has actually been trying to at least modernize some of that building. I would say pretty much every single corner in Sierra Leone has story. Now Liberia on the other hand have its achievement. Liberia have its accomplishments. So for example, Liberia have the largest rubber plantation in the entire world. Liberia have the first female president on the continent of